Thank you for staying with us. Popularly called laughing gas, nitrous oxide has become an escape for many people, especially youth, to create a rapid but short-lived feeling of euphoria, relaxation, calmness, and sense of detachment from reality. With its effect being dizziness, hallucination, neurological complications, amongst others, the chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, has directed all commands and formations of the agency to begin an immediate clampdown on illegal sale and use of nitrous oxide. In this report, senior correspondent Jacqueline Ogo gives us more details and why it has become prominent in the society.
The abuse of nitrous oxide, which is popularly known on the streets as the laughing gas, is getting more common in Europe, America, and now Africa. Nitrous oxide, or better still, nitrogen oxide, is a gaseous substance meant for clinical use, mostly surgical operations. Youths who engage in abusing the substance do so by getting balloons inflated with heat for direct inhalation. There are allegations that some Nigerian youths are engaging in the abuse of the gas, which scientists say gets deadly. Coming from a long journey of advocating against the abuse of nitrous oxide, I headed to the hospital of Dr. Joel Akonde in Lagos State to have him tell me about the origin of the use of the gas.
How are you doing?
It's good to see you. I'm very well. Trying to cope. Please have a seat.
Thank you. I know you have the answers to my questions as always. So, are we ready to go this time?
I'm ready. So, let's get on with it.
Nitrous oxide definitely didn't just get into science without having a purpose. So what's the scientific purpose of nitrous oxide?
Let me begin from the origin of it. The first person that used laughing gas in medicine was an American dentist. He used it to extract his own teeth in America. So, in other words, it's used in anesthesia. It's a form of painkiller for people who are undergoing operation. In other words, it deadens an area so that you don't feel the pain. Any other use of nitrogen oxide or laughing gas outside medicine is an illegal use. Laughing gas is a gas that wears out very quickly. 2 minutes, if you take it within 2 minutes, it's all gone. And there's a tendency for you to want to take it again. And the more you are taking it, the more it is damaging the system. People put it in balloon because it's preservative. It's kind of a media or a medium to preserve it to stay longer rather than putting it in a container of a thing that will escape over time.
Shockingly, Dr. Akonde says the abuse of nitrous oxide can cause infertility in men and in women.
Lack of vitamin B12 may cause miscarriages or abnormalities in the baby. Number 2, eggs formation and also sperm development needs vitamin B12, lack of which may cause sperm abnormalities or egg abnormalities, resulting in infertility.
And because early understanding is a safe window for escaping from calamities, I hooked up with Dr. Dakbo Adegbaju, a specialist of the psychiatric hospital, Yaba, Lagos, to explain the implications of the abuse of nitrous oxide, the laughing gas.
The mental implications of the abuse of nitrous oxide, amongst many others, is number 1, brain death, brain damage, which will come due to depletion of B12 vitamin, which is necessary for the brain to develop that are contrary to what the person is expected to because of their education. So we could have the illusion of grandeur, where the person believes is the president of Nigeria, thinking expansively about themselves. There could be hallucinations. Hallucination means when other people seeing things other people cannot see, hearing what other people cannot hear. And Nitrous oxide can also lead to out-of-body experience in which the person is not in control. The mind and body are not synchronized, and the person might not know what he or her they are doing at that particular point in time. And it has led to people committing crime.
Just recently in the United Kingdom, a driver who got behind the wheel while euphoric on nitrous oxide killed her passenger in a crash. Nasrin Seller's Volkswagen Golf GTI hit a brick wall by a roundabout before flipping and bursting into flames. A taxi driver rescued her but could not save her 28-year-old passenger, Lukman Mehboob, who died as a result of the crash. Nasrin Seller admitted causing death by dangerous driving. The 26-year-old lady from Liverpool was jailed for 4.5 years. Mental instability is not a health condition to toy with. When I took some steps into the streets, I met with realities, sending signals that are clear enough to help the wise stay safe.
What do you take the ginger?
Wait a minute, ginger. Canada loud.
Canada loud.
Canada loud. I dey take Canada loud.
Okay, so you take I go ginger
I
you,
go
right?
ginger my baby with origin better cool water. Taba the best partner every minute James. Ma ṣe nǹkan. I want to segede. Me segede. Tó bá lò di segede. Owó ti wọlé ní aláàtì ti jókòó.
So do you have a wife?
My wife. All of us, everybody are my wife. But one is my wife, be my wife. All of us, everybody my wife.
There were several levels of advice for persons engaging in drug and substance abuse.
They go crazy, you know. So these people, their years of productivity to the country, self and family is lost.
I think this comes up as a result of some parents. They always send their kids to go and get them hard drugs. It's a pity because at times I feel so sorry for this coming generation.
I will advise for them to do away from it because there's nothing to benefit from it rather than to destroy your inner system, to destroy your whole life.
April coming year being 80. I don't take anything. Because those boys now smoke, go smoke everything, there is not good. My advice to all those boys, make they don't take anything. Because they get long life.
And finally, the crucial expert advice.
In our difficult time, in our vulnerable time, every one of us have vulnerability. Escaping with drugs, escaping with vices is not the best. Face reality, nothing lasts forever. It will go away no matter what it is. Nothing ever lasts forever. Of course, let me also say that there are some parents, irresponsibly, that take these substances, gas, cocaine, and all the rest of it. So what a monkey sees, a monkey will do. So when a child sees that the parents is doing it to that child, it is the right thing to do.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Just like the doctor said, temporary escape from reality is only temporary. Standing strong to surmount the storms of life for a beautiful step into victory is clearly the right way to go. Jacqueline Ogo, TVC News, Lagos.
Quite an insightful report there coming from our senior correspondent, Jacqueline Ogo. And joining us via Zoom from Abuja is the Director, Media and Advocacy in NDLEA, Femi Babafemi. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you, and good morning to you.
Thank you. It's such a worrying situation stemming from the report our correspondent just did that we watched. But talk to us what the NDLEA has found with regards to the rising cases of the use of this laughing gas.
First, I must commend your station for that excellent report put together, a very balanced report by Jacqueline Ogo there. That was very brilliant, well balanced, and I think that's exactly what our country, our society needs at this moment to present these things to our young population so that they can understand where they are going or what awaits them if they don't heed some of these expert advice. And we indeed, at the agency, we rightly observe this when we follow this, we call them narco trends. When we follow these narco trends over time, and we discover that quite a number of our young population, especially the party goers and the fun seekers, have started drifting again to abusing nitrous oxide, which is popularly called laughing gas. On the street, it has quite a lot of other names like nitro, like nitrous, like nitro, like N20, and quite a number of other names. But then what we did at the agency, we initially began some level of engagement with the youth through the platforms where we know they usually go to, especially the social media, where we know majority of them spend a lot of time by bringing this topic, by bringing this issue with we want to give credit again to a very young Nigerian, a medical doctor, popularly called the bearded Dr. Shina, who has been on this matter. And indeed, because of his engagement on this matter, we had to bring him on our Twitter space to engage with the young population. And indeed, quite a number of them in their thousands participated in that conversation. And we did bring this beer to them that, look, this thing that you people are copying from the outside world, as you can see, this is a narco trend across the world, and especially close to us here in the United Kingdom. It's a very big issue there. And just like your report rightly observed, that it's something that the UK government is already moving against. And so when we follow that, we try to educate our young people. And again, we notice that some so-called celebrities, those who are supposed to be role models to our young population, again, have started going on the social media to mislead these young people by glorifying or glamorizing the use of this this substance. And at that point, the chairman of the agency had to give an order that, to clamp down to all our commands and commissions across the country, to clamp down on those involved in illegal sale and illegal use of this particular substance. And I can tell you that in the last 24 hours, there have been quite a lot of actions across the country. In just one particular interdiction effort, we've been able to chain down more than 16,000 packages of this particular substance in just one location. That operation is ongoing, and the same thing goes on across the country, because we noticed that indeed, because of the demands by the young people, quite a number of unscrupulous elements have also seen that as a business, bringing this into the country to make money, to distribute to those who use them for recreational purposes, other than the medical purpose for which this was actually supposed to be. And that's exactly where we are at the moment.
All right, Femi, for the purpose of emphasis and enlightenment, can you walk us through some of the dangers of the use of laughing gas that has warranted your agency to clamp down on the sale and use of laughing gas across the country?
Yeah, basically, again, as I say in that excellent, brilliant report put together by your station, presented by Jacqueline Ogle there, you observe that indeed laughing gas or nitrous oxide, it's a substance used mainly for medical purposes, like in dentistry, to sedate patients who in dentistry and other medical procedures, to sedate patients who are undergoing minor medical procedures. But then we discovered that the abuse for recreational purposes by the young people has quite a lot of complications, quite a lot of consequences, which include dizziness, disorientation. People losing touch with reality, because originally this is to detach the substance actually detaches those that use it from reality, from their pains, from their anxiety, from their worry. So this creates some disorientation for them, hallucination, they lose touch with reality, then headache, lightheadedness, fainting spells, people falling unconscious or even suffocating because of the lack of oxygen, because this will suppress oxygen flow, and you know what that means. Ultimately, that can lead to death. And
I hear we have some challenge there. I would have loved to hear the role of celebrities, seeing them using some of, perhaps glorifying the use of nitrous oxide. And I am wondering how the agency is engaging them as well, because these persons are influencers who can influence the minds of a lot of young persons who are engaging in this by way of talking about enlightenment, how the agency is also engaging the celebrities to put out the message out there that at the end of the day, this is detrimental to your health the more you engage in it. Like in that report, temporary measures to perhaps just make yourself feel good.
Yeah,
it's just temporary.
Euphoria. It's
just
a
temporary.
euphoria, exactly.
It doesn't last forever. At the end of the day, and it causes more harm than good to you. If you're saying you're just taking a temporary measure to just stay high or do not think about the challenges.
Intoxicate yourself.
Yes, intoxicate yourself and not think about the challenges you are going through.
You'll come back to square one afterwards.
At the end of the day, with more danger. Yeah. At the end of the day, we hear Femi Baba Femi is back. And the question now is, how are you engaging these celebrities, whom you mentioned earlier are part of those compounding the use or glorifying the use of nitrous oxide? Because we know these people are influencers. How is the agency engaging them by way of advocacy and enlightenment to ensure that the youth no longer engage in this damaging act?
Indeed, I'll tell you that we still have quite a number of good celebrities and influencers out there who have been using their platforms to put the right content out there. We're engaging with them, we're talking with them, and I want to bring out in particular the Actors Guild of Nigeria. The leadership of the Actors Guild has been very, very supportive, cooperative, and they've been working with us in this regard. And some of the major players in the entertainment industry, we work with them and we're encouraging them. But then, unfortunately, you have just a clique of some few people who have now become persons of interest to the agency. I'll tell you that in this regard, we have them under our watch. The agency is determined at this point that if some of these people would not do the right thing, then we'll bring them online, bring them to do the right thing by getting the law to decide their fate when we get hold of them. So it's about the stick and the carrot approach in this. In this case, because we can't hold on or wait for too long for some of them to change in the course of, why we think we continue to preach to them. But then when there is the need to wield the stick, we definitely will do that, because the lives of our young people are at stake here. You have these people who have millions of followers on their handles, and you come out and put the wrong message to them, whether you are doing it to promote your business, to promote your art or not. That's immaterial now. But then the fact that you are misleading young people to doing things that have grave consequences for their health, for public health, for the safety of others, then you must be responsible. And if you are not ready to be responsible, then the law enforcement will do the right thing by getting you to do what you ought to do. So that's where we are at the moment. For those that are amenable, for those that are ready to do the right thing, I can tell you we're engaging with them. we're at individual levels, we're engaging with them, we're speaking with them, and you would have also noticed that some of them are beginning to push out some good messages in their content. All of these are as a result of some engagement behind the scene through the various and different platforms. And for those that are in groups, that is, that have associations, like I mentioned, the Actors Guild of Nigeria, we're engaging with them, and we're happy that the leadership of the guild, they work with us, and through that engagement, we're able to monitor what happens at movie locations where they are shooting, to know those that are abusing some illicit substances, or those involved in some unwholesome practice there, so that we can move in at the appropriate time. So we're happy that is happening between the agency and the Nollywood industry. For the music industry, we're engaging with the individuals that we know amenable, those that trying to do the right thing. And for those, like I said, that are not ready to do the right thing, then we'll get the law to bring them to order.
All right. It is one thing to give an order to clamp down on those who are selling and dealing in these things. It's another thing to have the capacity to cover the country. Now, Nigerians are asking the questions and having the concerns regarding the capacity of the NDLEA to adequately cover the country, because Nigeria is a very large country, and seeing the enormous task ahead of the NDLEA, of course, reports have shown that there's a lot of activity, so many things NDLEA is doing, and so many successes and breakthroughs so far, but there are still concerns regarding the capacity when it comes to funding, when it comes to adequate personnel, and when it comes to modern equipment and the use of technology.
Yeah, I'll tell you that indeed this is not just about the NDLEA alone; it's a collective thing. Like what your station has been doing in the last 24 hours on this. That is the way to go. We all need to play a role, and so it's a whole society thing. We need to get everybody, starting from the home, starting from the family unit. Parents need to wake up and get into parenting all over again, rather than just, bringing our children to the world without caring what they do, how they behave out there, and the things they do. So definitely, it's even if we have millions of people, even if we have millions as personnel in NDLEA, we may not be able to cover everywhere, but that is why we're deploying, we're getting into a whole society approach where we get everybody, and that's the whole essence of our War Against Drug Abuse Wider Advocacy Initiative, to mobilize everybody to get involved, starting from the family, the schools, faith-based organizations, the mosques, the churches, community-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, civil society organizations, everybody, get everybody, including the media, get everybody on board, so that we can, if we have to give information to the law enforcement, we give information. Like I told you, in the last 24 hours after the chairmanship executive of the agency gave the clampdown order, I'll tell you, we're making tremendous successes already in just one particular location. We've been able to chain down over 16,000 packages of this just in one single location. Just imagine what we have all over the country with this particular with this development. So indeed, we're doing quite enormously well across board, in every part of the country. But then we need everybody. It's not what the agency alone, because the danger is right there, and we can't afford to shift responsibility or fold our hands wherever we may be. We have a role to play in this, like starting from the family level to the schools, to faith-based organizations, communities, traditional institutions. All of these, we have been going all out to engage with all of these stakeholders, so that we can mobilize them, so that we can get them to get involved, either by giving information, by sharing knowledge that we pass to them. And we have quite a lot of our partners, the UNODC, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the MTN Foundation, all of them coming on board to get to educate and to create some level of awareness in schools at the moment. All of these are going right in Lagos as we speak. As we speak, there is the Unplug program going on in schools, in some schools with the Ministry of Health, with the Ministry of Education, with schools, with our commander and everybody, just to mobilize everybody to educate people, so to raise the level of awareness and ensure that indeed we pass. I mean, we get our young people we equip our young people with the right skills, so that when they come under pressure to abuse these illicit substances, they can stand their ground and say, no, we know this will cause this, we know this will cause this, we know this will cause this, so we cannot afford to yield to this because of the consequences to their well-being.
You've mentioned so many organizations. I didn't hear you mention schools. If you are reaching out to school, if the agency is reaching out to schools like secondary schools and even primary schools, catching them young to addressing this matter, that's on the one hand. And I'm wondering if you're extending your framework of getting illegal persons who are selling this nitrous oxide illegally to the internet as well, because I went online this morning and I could just see an array of persons who are selling nitrous oxide. I'm wondering if that is also captured.
Yeah, thank you very much. I indeed mentioned schools, and I said family, schools, all of this, like the Unplug program that is going on in Lagos at the moment, that has been going on across some states. This basically focuses on schools, just to ensure that we pass the right information to this we're doing in partnership with the UNODC. We keep both the students and the teachers with the right information, so that they are in a position to take the right decision when they come under pressure. And honestly, every day across the country, we have our commands working with civil society organizations, community-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, going to schools from primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions, preaching, conducting WADA sensitization lectures. That's what we call it, War Against Drug Abuse, WADA sensitization lectures across board. Every day, this goes on, and every Sunday, we produce 3 to 5 minute short videos covering all of this. We cannot produce, we cannot put everything together, but indeed every Sunday, every weekend, we produce short clips of 3 to 5 minute videos, showing all of these activities going on across the country. Our commands, our officers, our men, in partnership with civil society, non-governmental organizations, going to all of these institutions, whether, the schools, faith-based organizations, churches, mosques, traditional institutions, palaces of traditional rulers, market men and women, all of these people, all of this engagement, they are all going. But like I said, it's not what we can all feel all of a sudden. There are gradual processes building up with the engagement. That I tell you is going to board. Right. Then as for the sale of this on the dark web or the internet, we indeed have monitoring teams that are working in that space, because we know quite a lot, especially for the young people, quite a lot of transactions go on there, and that's why we have dedicated teams that are working in that particular sphere. We will have those focusing on deliveries, that's the dispatch riders, all of them. We have quite a lot of strategic teams across the country working on all of this. And so, as I said earlier, within the last 24 hours, when there was a direct order to clamp down on this, in just one particular location, which we've been able to track down more than 16,000 packages in just one location.
All right.
I may not be in a position to disclose all the details now, but then I know quite a lot is going on at the moment on this across the country.
All right, Femi, because our time is fast spent, would you like to share with us some of the challenges the agency is facing that would need urgent government attention? Because all of this that NDLEA is doing, you're on the news on a daily basis, the enormous work that the agency is putting in. Nigerians are seeing it, and it's an amazing thing. But however, Nigerians will also like to know, so that they can support where they can, some of the challenges the agency is having that needs attention.
Okay, rightly. Thank you very much for that. We need at this point Nigerians as citizens themselves, because we have quite a lot of misinformation going on by, being passed on by some of our celebrities, because these things, they don't just come from, they come through these people. And so we need Nigerians themselves to wake up. For any celebrity, for whoever they may be, who is misleading them, they need to start going to their pages to tag them, to let them know what they are doing is wrong. Beyond that, again, we are working, and we hope this would will get to where we want, so that our other stakeholders within the government circle to also monitor, because we can't do everything. We are limited by the provisions of our Enabling Act. So we cannot, especially the content being pushed online by some of these influencers. We need other stakeholders who are responsible for some of these things to also ensure that some of these things, they have a way of monitoring and, if possible, blocking some of these things from getting to our young people.
All right, that's a fine place to leave this conversation. Femi Babafemi, Director, Media and Advocacy, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Thank you for your time on the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Right.